they have another performance like they did against Iowa State, Will Grier will not be in New York for the Heisman Trophy ceremony.
I'm Amanda Borges, and this is The Spin. Joining me now is college football writer Nick Bromberg, who's here for some Heisman Trophy talk. Nick, let's get into who's down, who's up, and who we should look to make a statement. Starting with Will Grier in West Virginia. We had high expectations for Grier entering this season, but last week he didn't look so good. How did that sad 100-yard performance against Iowa State affect his Heisman stock?
Pretty badly at this point. That was the worst game of Will Grier's career when you take out that Texas game last year when he injured his finger. West Virginia still has a lot of schedule remaining. They play everybody good in the Big 12 in November. So if West Virginia bounces back and ends up in the Big 12 championship game, Grier's Heisman hopes are going to look pretty good. But if they have another performance like they did against Iowa State, Will Grier will not be in New York for the Heisman Trophy ceremony.
Memphis running back Darrell Henderson has had a dominant season so far, leading the country in rushing average with 10.3 yards per rush. He scores at least once a game, and it's easy to see his Heisman stock rising. So, Nick, how can he continue to make a name for himself?
He's got to keep averaging over 10 yards a carry. He just has 110 carries this season for 1,133 yards. But it's nearly impossible for a guy in a smaller conference like the American to win the Heisman. Just look at Mackenzie Milton, Central Florida last year. Henderson's got to have a big game Saturday against Missouri, potentially the toughest opponent left on Memphis' schedule, and he's got to have more 200-yard rushing games to even get a sniff of New York.
Another running back is expected to make a statement, and that is Travis Etienne at Clemson. He's only a sophomore, and he has 11 touchdowns on the year, and his average of 9.2 yards per carry is the best of any back in the Power 5 with at least 50 carries. So, Nick, what do you like about his Heisman chances?
He's going to have a fifth straight 100-yard game if he tops 100 yards against NC State on Saturday. That's Clemson's biggest game of the year so far. If he does that, Etienne's going to vault up the Heisman rankings, and he'll stay there because he's the most important player on Clemson's offense. That, plus averaging 9 yards a carry, is a very potent combination to get consideration from the Heisman Committee if Clemson makes a college football playoff charge.
Well, all three are players to keep an eye out for. Thanks, Nick. For more on the Heisman race and all things college football, keep it right here on The Spin on Yahoo Sports.